All right, guys, we're gonna do some rapid fire here. We're gonna bang out a bunch of questions here that have been popping up in the Facebook feed here. So we'll start off with Stefan's question. Would you recommend eating eggs or drinking raw eggs? If so, how many? No, I do not recommend drinking raw eggs. This is a myth that's persisted. It's not necessary and it's not healthy. And although you may have seen somebody do it, the lesson here is just because you see someone do something, even if they're in great shape, it doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean you should do it, all right? And how many eggs a day? To be honest, I try and vary my protein sources. I try not to eat the same protein source twice a day. So for me, eggs come with my meat in my breakfast, and it's usually 2 to 3 a day. But that's just because that's how it fits into my daily macros. All right. Next question from Christopher Dice. Taking a protein shake pre and post workout aids in losing body fat quicker. If you're not eating whole food, yes it will, because you need a certain amount of protein each day to maintain your muscle mass, and helping and maintaining your muscle is going to help maintain your metabolism as well. So indirectly, yes, but I recommend having no more than 1 protein shake a day. I recommend having all your protein sources from whole food except for 1, and that can be after your workout. Next question is from Tet, maybe. That H is probably silent. I don't really know. How do you know what adjustments and customizations to make to maximize your results from your personal program? This is a great question. I have to see everything you're doing, and I would look for the lowest hanging fruit. My philosophy is always to make the maximal physiological change with the least psychological resistance. So we're looking for changes that take little effort, things that are going to produce a lot of gain but with little effort. So for one thing, adding fish oils to your diet. It's one of the easiest things you can do that will make immediate differences in your body. Fish oils would be just one example. So again, I can't really answer this without seeing your entire protocol and see where there's room to apply that philosophy. Next question is from Joshua DiBono. You cannot build muscle while on a slight caloric deficit, while still putting in adequate work volume, increasing strength, and doing conditioning work such as hill sprints. This would be false. You certainly can build muscle while being in a slight caloric deficit. I've seen it done many, many times when people eat high quality foods, have optimal hormone environments, maybe beginners, maybe teenagers, maybe they're taking steroids. So there's a lot of different situations. Again, this all comes back to looking at trying to answer this question by using a satellite lens, satellite view, as opposed to a zoom lens, which we talked about a few episodes ago. So it's certainly possible, but it might not be possible for everyone. So when you ask your questions, you guys have to put your questions in context. If you don't put your questions in context, I'm always going to have to say it depends, because who are we talking about? All right, so there's a lesson for you guys in asking better questions. Put your questions in context to the individual, because answers are going to depend on individualistic factors. Next question is from Kendall Depp. He says, is it true that you cannot lose body fat while gaining muscle mass? This is another example of the question not being done in context. So, is it true that you cannot lose body fat while gaining muscle mass? This would be false for the majority of people. For untrained individuals, for very obese individuals, there's a lot of research that shows that they can build substantial amounts of lean muscle tissue, fat-free mass, whatever you want to call it, while losing body fat at the same time. Will you see this in an advanced bodybuilder who's got 10 years of training, who's, follows a diligent diet, does a lot of supplements? Probably not. So again, it depends on the individual. This is again a classic case of not putting your question into context so I can answer it for the specific individual who's asking. I want to help you guys, so I need to know. You don't be afraid to give me details. I don't mind, because if you don't give me details, I end up just giving you vague, or I kind of just, I gave you a vague answer. Next question is Abdullah. Okay, I guess the theme of the show today is to put your questions in context. Is again, we've got another problem here. He says you can't build more muscle while being at maintenance calories. Well, it depends. You can build more muscle compared to someone who's in an extreme caloric deficit. You can build more muscle than somebody who's in a slight caloric deficit. You won't build more muscle than somebody who's in an optimal caloric surplus. So again, you got to ask me these questions in context, guys. I can't help you, but I hope that kind of gives you an idea of where you're at. You can build muscle while you're in maintenance calories. To answer your question, if your hormonal environment is optimal, again, maybe if you're a beginner, maybe if you're following a really well-designed training program where you're training intensity, your training density, where it's at a very high level, absolutely you can build muscle at maintenance calories. So again, context, people. You've got to think of things in context. By now you should be, based on the last video we did a few, on the Zoom versus satellite viewpoints. One more question here. Simon says, can you develop a muscle group while cutting, for example, biceps? Again, yes, you can. It is possible, but it is challenging. Again, it depends if you're a beginner. It depends. All the same things I've already said apply to this question as well too. So yes, it's certainly possible, but you're not going to build as much muscle if you're, as opposed to someone whose goal, as opposed to somebody whose diet and lifestyle is completely dedicated to that specific goal of gaining muscle and a surplus. So I hope that helps. Let's end there. Actually, there's one more question here from Tran. He says, does the stomach need to be in an acidic state for optimal absorption? What is your opinion on drinking alkaline water around eating time? So Tran, I hope you watched the last episode I posted because we discussed this. You are going to be able to digest, assimilate your calories much better, much more efficiently when your body is in an alkaline state. All right. Again, go back and watch the last video. 3 to 4 liters of water throughout the course of the day is optimal. And then adjust upwards based on your current settings, how much you train, where you live, etc. All right, we'll wrap it up there. We'll knock out another round of rapid fire questions. If you like the rapid fire style, tell me. The way you can tell me is by voting, by clicking the like button. Because guys, I think I've said this before, but I don't know how if you like the content I put out unless you click the like button, unless you leave comments, unless you tell me. So that's the way for you to communicate with me. So let me know. You like the rapid fire? Let me know below. You like the variety of themes that we do? Let me know below. Your feedback is very valued. If I don't read it, just so you know, I have a team that monitors this page as well. And sometimes they'll come by and they'll answer as me. Oftentimes it is me, but I just have too much going on to be able to answer every single question. So I have a team stop by and answer most of the most important questions. If I don't answer a question, it's usually because I've already answered it or it was discussed in the video, and it's basically, hey, you didn't listen, go back and listen, or watch a previous video, it's probably explained somewhere else. So I always answer the most immediate questions that weren't addressed somewhere else. Hope that makes sense. Thank you so much for watching. You guys rock. I love you all. Take care. All right, ready? all right, go from there. An acidic environment can be influenced in your body, all right? Those are the 3 big things it's gonna do. Having